Hey y'all, it's been a minute since I have posted a video, and forgive the sunglasses, but I didn't put makeup on this morning, so I'm going to spare you guys as much of this as I can. I wanted to come on today and give my thoughts on Charlie Kirk. And I know everybody's doing videos, but one of the things that we have to come to realize is how powerful our voices are. And when we sit back and we don't push back against the lies and the evil that we see and hear every day, we're being complacent. And I started my YouTube channel to have a hobby. I didn't start it to become YouTube famous or to get likes or subs. You know, if that happens, that's all great. But that wasn't the purpose. And I was watching a very popular YouTube channel the other day. Actually, this was just yesterday. And my comment on his video was, you know, I don't care what Charlie said about who. Nobody deserves what happened to him. And someone commented on my comment and said, so are you saying this just for clicks or likes, or, you know, what are you doing? And the fact that somebody even asked that is beyond me. I support a lot of other YouTube channels, and this one I've been following for a little while, and I've always commented on his page or on his channel. So this wasn't out of the norm for me to do. And so I wasn't able to tell if he was, you know, on the left and he was just trying, you know, I don't know. But the point is, we all have a voice, and it's time we use it. You know, we have been silent for far too long, and that is one of the many reasons of why we are where we are in society. And you know, I don't condone violence of any kind, so don't get me wrong when I say this, but it's high time that we all start pushing back on what we see and hear that we know isn't right. You know, there's a lot of blame to go around, but I'm going to start at the top with those men and women in Congress who incited hate and violence on the daily on national television. That is where we've got to start. These people need to be expelled immediately. And while I know that my voice does not reach DC, and I know that if it did, my voice wouldn't matter to them, but as a collective whole, it would. I believe it would. But we have got to start taking action when we see something that is wrong. I saw the video of the Ukrainian girl on the train and was horrified at how long it took even one person to get up to help her. There were people sitting behind her, beside her, and this one lady that was sitting to her right, it was to our left if you're watching the video, she didn't even look the girls away. She got up and she walked off. She never looked at her, never checked on her to see if she was okay. And, you know, I know a lot of that is happening because of what happened to, I can't think of his name, but he was the guy that subdued someone on a subway, I believe it was, and the guy ended up dying, and they tried to prosecute him for murder. That is one of the reasons why nobody wants to get involved today. So when we start at the top with Congress, we get all of these America-hating people out who incite hate and violence. That's not what this country is about, number one. And if that is what you're doing, you have no business warming a seat in Congress. If you were not born here, you have no business warming a seat in our government at all. And you know, if I take flack for that, that's fine. Give me the flack. But I have an opinion, and I have the right to voice that opinion, and that's what I believe. Ilhan Omar put out a vile video. And she is a sitting congresswoman. Words have consequences, and when you spew hate and encourage violence on a daily basis, how can you not understand that somebody out there who is unstable is going to take what you say literally? They almost took out Donald Trump. And they just took out a young, loud voice that we needed in this country. And yeah, I say they because they're a part of it. Maxine Waters has blood on her hands. Maxine Waters needs to be held accountable and charged as an accessory to Charlie Kirk's murder. So does Ilhan Omar. And others. You know, those are just the ones I can think of off the top of my head as I'm recording this. But when is enough going to be enough for you? You know, maybe you don't have a YouTube channel, and that's fine. But how about maybe in the midterms, get off your couch and go vote? We need to show up in droves in the midterms, because I think that's the only way that we're going to get these people out. As much as they deserve to be expelled from Congress, you and I both know that's not going to happen. We need to have people at the polls watching every move these poll workers make. There needs to be accountability and oversight counting those votes, because I'm sorry, but there is no way in hell that Nancy Pelosi has won every single midterm election for the last, 40 or 50 years? I don't think that there are enough Somalians or other foreigners over in, where is she from? She's in Minnesota, I believe. I don't think there's enough of them to vote her in every single midterm. So what's going on? I find it very hard to believe that Americans would continue to vote someone into a seat in Congress who hates America as much as that woman does. Rashida Tlaib is another one that has got to go. And I don't know what the answer. Well, I do know what the answer is. The answer is God. We have got to get God back into our minds, our hearts, and back into our schools and in this country. Because, guys, what we've been doing for the last decade, or hell, for even the last 50 years, it's not working, y'all. Do I blame the assassin's parents? No, I absolutely do not. This guy is a grown-ass adult who made his own decisions. Do I think he was indoctrinated? Absolutely. But as much of the left BS that I'm around, I don't act like them. I don't believe like them. I don't let what they say and do influence me. I'm a free thinker. You know, you don't have to grow up in a religious home to know right from wrong. And I think that there's a place in the Bible, and you know, I'm not a Bible scholar, but I do know that somewhere, and I want to say it's in Revelations, it talks about how when it's getting close to the return of Christ, that there will be a searing of the minds, meaning the devil will take over. People will be taken over by demons, and their minds will be seared to any kind of influence. You know, good influence. And the things that are happening are so crazy and so evil that I have to believe that that is exactly what is going on. You have to protect what you listen. You have to protect your ears. You have to protect what you listen to, what you see. You know, you have to guard your heart, because those are the gates to your heart, your eyes and ears. Then after Congress, I think we need to start with the judges and the prosecutors that are letting these criminals out. I know the guy that attacked the Ukrainian girl had 14 violent charges on him. He'd been let out every time. Now, do I feel bad that he has schizophrenia? Of course I do. But that doesn't mean that we have to let him loose on society. I feel bad that he has schizophrenia, but we have to protect the American citizens around him. And just letting him go after violent attack after violent attack after violent attack, that's not compassion. Compassion is putting him somewhere where he is getting help for what his mental status is. That's compassion. Having compassion for a criminal who, well, he didn't have a daddy growing up, or he grew up poor. You know what? I grew up poor, and I'm sorry, but I don't act like some of these punk ass thugs that I see on the videos today. There is no excuse for being a rotten human being. There is none. I am sickened by what I see. The videos of people dancing and celebrating the death of someone. And if you've watched my other videos, you probably know that I have a very diverse family. My stepdaughter is biracial. And she put up a memorial photo or something of Charlie Kirk and his family, and talked about how heartbroken she was. And she's a Christian. And I could not believe that someone would go onto her page and tell her that she needed to check herself, because Charlie Kirk was a white supremacist. So tell me this, what makes a white supremacist? Is it because he was white? Because I know that there is not a single instance that you can tell me that Charlie Kirk did or said that made him a white supremacist. Not a single one of you can give me one example. She also said that Charlie Kirk spewed hate. No, he did not. That is a lie as well. And if you go and start doing some research on this man for yourself, and you listen to his speeches and his events yourself, and stop listening to everything that everybody else is saying, because I'm telling you something, they're just trying to rile you people up, and it's working. Charlie Kirk always gave the opposing person the microphone first. He never came back out of anger. He was respectful. And he would even come to not really a compromise, but 9 times out of 10, the other person walked away and they were maybe not friends, but they weren't yelling and screaming at each other. You know what I mean? They respected each other's views. That's what I'm trying to say. As Christians, we can still love each other regardless of our views. But what we also can do is correct other people in love. And I'm not talking about, that's not trying to force our views on you. That's just telling you, hey, you probably need to rethink this. And you're either going to do it or you don't. But if you don't, that's between you and your Creator. But it's our jobs as Christians to make sure that you at least hear the truth once. And what you do with that truth after that is up to you. I don't hate anybody, and I don't disrespect anybody. If you show me love, I'm going to give it to you right back. I don't care what your ethnicity is. I don't care what color your skin is. I don't care what your religious beliefs are. I don't care what your sexual preference is. None of that matters to me. But I am going to conduct myself in such a way that when you look at me, maybe you start questioning yourself. When you hear what I talk, when you hear what I say, and you see how I treat others, that is a reflection of God and who Christ is. Because I'm not perfect, and God knows I am not a perfect Christian. But that is one of the miracles of God, is every day when you and I wake up, God's mercies are new every single morning. He never gets tired of forgiving us. He never gets tired of having mercy on us and giving us grace. We screw up on the daily. Every Christian does. There is not one Christian out here who you can compare to Jesus Christ, and there never will be. If there were, then what's the purpose of the cross? If you can do good and be perfect and get to heaven with deeds, then why did Jesus die on the cross? I'm glad to see people on the left coming over and leaving the Democratic Party, because it is nothing but pure evil. It is not the Democratic Party of your grandparents anymore. It's nothing but vile hate, violence, evil, destruction, and chaos. That's all they have left. And I welcome you. If you are walking away from the Democratic Party, I welcome you over. But don't forget Charlie Kirk at the midterm elections. that is going to be where you're really tested. And that's how you're going to show the rest of us how serious you are. Because if we're all serious and we're all banding together and we're all going to fight this fight, there shouldn't be a whole lot of these crazy MFers that are up in Congress in there after the midterms. They should be gone. So I'm going to get off of here. You know, don't leave me nasty comments because I'm just going to delete and block. It is my First Amendment right. And yes, my prayers and my thoughts do go out to Erica and those children and Charlie's parents and his close friends. And I hate what happened to him. What happened to him should not happen to anybody. I don't care who you are or what comes out of your mouth. Nobody deserves what happened to him. So that's my stance on it, guys. And, you know, I hope that we can continue to somehow unite and somehow get some sort of resemblance of common sense and peace back into this country. That's all I got, y'all. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.